What it do, my friends and fellow countrymen. Matt Bale FPV here, coming at you from the car, heading on down to Snellville, Georgia, which is the location of Grayson Hobby, who you might be familiar with if you're familiar with their YouTube channel or their online store. They have a pretty good store. They sell a lot of FPV. They're just a hobby shop, you know, a lot of FPV and fixed wing stuff and things like that. But I recently found out they started selling HQ props for about $2.99 a bag. So hey, can't beat that. So I'm gonna head down there because I'm in need of props, and we're gonna do a little bit of testing today regarding the budget build, if you could still call it that. I got a story for later regarding that, but for now, let's go grab some props, grab us a little snack for going out to the field, and see if we can't spend the afternoon doing some quad stuff. Catch you over there. Have a good rest of your day. Alright, whoa, speed bump. Alright, now that we got our food and our props, let's head on down to some spot and see what we can rip. So I'm seeing a spot on the map here, very close to us, that is, looks like two churches across the street from each other. I'd say that's our best chance of finding a good, big, open spot with very little people. So let's go check them out. Oh boy, a Christian academy. Reminds me of my youth. But I think we should be able to find some pretty sick flying in here, and it looks pretty empty, so woo! And here we are, everyone, at the Loganville Christian Academy. About to see what we can get into. It actually looks like a pretty good spot. Brought a couple quads with me. Now let's just find a place to set up and get flying. Ooh, but first, check out this awesome, like, you know, you got some fieldage, a playground, everything you could ask for, and there's like no one here. So that's pretty cool. Alright, what up everybody? Here we are at this dope picnic table, and I've got a couple things to show you before we get to the testing. First I'm gonna eat this, and then we will get right down to it. Alright, that hit the spot. Now, on to the important stuff. Quads. First of all, Grayson Hobby, it appears, was out of the cheap $3.99, well not out, but they only had 3 bags left of the green ones. So, I mean, they only had 3 bags of green at all. You know, they didn't have like... So, I bought some dowels, some white dowels, just in case, because it seems like I forgot my computer and or my tablet for tuning. So, if this thing doesn't work out, at least I'll have my backup, my chameleon tie on the steel motors, which I could throw some cyclones on and see how that goes. Anyway, I got a few changes I'm bringing to you today from the budget build. I guess it's a bit of an involuntary psych out. I guess I'm a YouTube prankster now, because last video at the end I said this video is going to be a durability test and blah blah blah, and there's only one place we can do that. I was all coy about it. I was going to go to the bandos and just thrash the frog around, but the universe had other plans, and those plans had to do with my all-in-one. I don't think I have it laying around here, but you know, the all-in-one on the frog with the ESCs, the Racer Star Tattoo 30 amp with 4 ESCs and flight controller, PDB, all that all-in-one. Well, when I went to buy that, I had quite a few people that were like, "Oh, Matt, you know, I mean, that sounds cool," because I'm like, "Hey man, look, it's only $73. It's got 4 ESCs, and it's got a flight controller, and it's F4, and it's 32-bit." And they were like, "But Matt, if you burn out one ESC, the whole board's toast." And I'm like, "But it's got BL Heli 32 and it's got 4 ESCs." And I'm just like, you know, whatever. I mean, I knew they had a point, but I didn't think it was gonna be like that, but it do. Basically, the other day I thought I broke a motor, and I went to replace the motor, and I replaced it, and it still didn't spin. The BL Heli's not picking up the ESC. So I basically fried one of the capacitors on the ESC. Well, okay, to be completely transparent, I may have accidentally hit it with my soldering gun while I was trying to solder in the new motor. This is a maybe, okay? I can't prove that. So this is either bad board or my idiocy. Either way, I think I'm done with the all-in-ones that include ESCs. And to that end, let's take a look at the frog and take a look at what went wrong, what I would have done different, and what I'm doing now. Alright, there appear to be some construction guys over there. I don't know if they're affiliated with the school, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to be here. Are we ever really sure if we're allowed to be flying here? But in any case, I guess I'm about to find out soon. But I'll keep working on this video until I either get kicked out or, you know, whatever. In any case, my final thoughts on the frog, and you may already be noticing a few differences here than what I had before, and we'll get into that here in just a second. The first things I wanted to mention is the frame is like super sturdy. It handles crashes super well. I would recommend this frame to literally anyone. I mean, this is a really good frame. The motors, I would not recommend. I mean, at the end of the day, I checked them. They're very noisy. They're just, I could never tune them right, and I suspect that these motors are the root cause of it. I wouldn't go with the Racer Stars. You know, I swore off, like you might remember from the last video, I used to have a pair and I broke them really quick and I swore off them, and you know, I'm glad I gave them a second chance, but I don't think I'm going to be going with the Racer Stars in the future. So if anyone out there is thinking of running Racer Stars, I would definitely advise against it. A few alternatives one might consider are the RDQ Race Day Quads, badass motors. I've heard good things about them, never used them. Also the HyperLites, heard good things, never used them. There's another one I'm thinking of, I can't remember what it is though. But anyway, yeah, the Samgooks. There are a few variations of the DYS Samgook motors that I think would be adequate or much better, honestly, replacements for these Racer Stars. Again, if you're going to use the all-in-one build, which I no longer recommend using the all-in-one by any means, I would actually avoid it like the plague, because it cost me 75 bucks on, like, you know, it wasn't even a hard crash, so I would avoid those. But I would use a low ESR capacitor always. And there's another thing. Well, here's a thug reminder, a goon quick tip: buy a micro cam so you don't gotta f with the image flip, because because I went with this body style, in order to get it to the tilt I wanted it, I had to turn it upside down, which means I had to go in there and flip the image, and it was the whole nine. It was a whole thing. So that is kind of like, if you do buy a camera for this, make sure it's either, I guess, like an Eagle or like a Runcam Swift kind of style of body, or a micro cam, because this style is, you know, I got a lot of issues with it. Again, use really strong zip ties for this HD cam mount. I would, if I was you, because I used the smaller ones. These big ones came from Home Depot. I used some smaller ones that I got from Amazon, and every crash it came off. And I would use 3 or 4, you know, if you can. I am still using the MMCX antenna instead of the MMCX to SMA adapter to an antenna, and it's been working out for me really well so far. I'm really impressed with the range of the dipole. It's not the best, but it's really good for what it is. I would also, if you do build this, I would recommend putting rubber on the battery plate, on the battery plate right here, because that will hold it in a lot better. I put rubber here and here, so it's like a rubber sandwich with my battery. It stays on all the time. I've never lost one. And so as far as what I would have done different besides the camera and the motors, I would probably get a different VTX. The one I was using, I kind of cheated and I put a Matek one in here, but the one I was using, I broke it. It was good. I broke it through user error. I was using pliers to put in a new antenna when, I don't know, it was a really tight MMCX connection, and I went to put it in and I put it in too hard and I broke it off inside of it. And then I tried to super glue a piece of metal to it to pull it out, but all that did was super glue the piece in there and make sure that I could never get it out again. So yeah, user error. But the VTX was okay. I mean, it definitely worked for the price, especially for the price, but there are probably better ones for the price out there. And that's about it when it comes to kind of my overall impressions of what this budget build was like. I never got it to tune. It never tuned. It was always shaking. That flight that I did in the 3 sunsets with the 3 drones, the clip at the end of that is the absolute best clip I ever got out of that budget build. I mean, it was okay, really shaky, but I'll actually cut to a little bit of the very last flight. I'll even show you the crash that succeeded in blowing out that ESC just now, and we'll cut to that real quick. And back here. All right, so yeah, so as you can see, that wasn't even a bad crash, and it just totally did me in. So let's talk about, now that we've talked about how the budget build failed me, let's talk about how this new build might succeed. Now, first of all, I don't know if you can see it in there. Oh, getting closer. Oh, look at that. Now that is a red board, and you know what that indicates. I have put a revolt in there. That's right, I am running race flight on the budget build. Can we still call it a budget build? That's a good question. By the time I slap some F40 Pro V2s on here and a run cam, I don't think that we're going to be calling it a budget build anymore. It's just going to be my new dope race flight build. Or really, it's called Flightone now, I guess I should say. Anyway, I've gone race flight, or I've gone Flightone, and I've put it in here. And by the way, I don't know if you guys have ever used race flight, but the UI, man, is insane. It's so good. The UI, it's like a Mac versus a PC as far as like user interface. I mean, you're running like these little wizards. You're not having to mess with numbers really. And if the stock tune flies as well as everyone says it does, and this is kind of stock, I put my rates in it. Yeah, this is stock tune, but with my rates. And I also turned down the there was a heck of a lot of expo on the throttle. I turned down the expo. It's more linear now, like my other builds, so we'll see how that goes. I also mounted my receiver antenna wires on the arms, something I've never actually done before, but I've always heard you know, good things about. It seems like they won't, unless my quad like goes into a tree branch, you know, like that, like right in between it. I don't think I'm going to be having any problems. Also mounted the XT60 without a lead for the first time. Seems pretty cool. You also might notice that I have ESCs on the arms now. I've decided to go with separate ESCs, as that'll be the most, I guess, efficient or cost-effective way of doing it. That's kind of ironic. But these are the Emax Bullet 30 amp ESCs. All of this stuff was recommended to me from a gentleman at, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name, but he was the nicest guy over at Gateway Hobbies in Talking Rock, Georgia, which is like 2 hours away from me. But I went up there because I thought they had a Deadpool motor in stock for my other build, but they didn't. And anyway, I ended up walking out with the race flight stuff. Cost me about 110 bucks. So if you're replacing the $73 all-in-one on this budget build with what I've just put in it, which is a Revolt, Motec PDB, and 4 Emax Bullet ESCs, you're looking at about $110 versus $73. So this build now fully will clock in at just a little over 200, like 205 or 210, which isn't bad. I mean, it'd be like 235 if I put a run cam on here like I really wanted to. Oh yeah, and I guess there's the Motec, whatchamacallit, VTX that is also in here now, which kind of, that probably costs a lot more than the, it was like double the old one. So yeah, well, I think it's safe to say this is no longer a budget build, but just like my Frog, my race, or my Flight 1 Frog. Anyway, enough jabbering about it. Let's put her in the air and see how she flies. She's got HQ 4.3 or 4.5 B1S props, and after that I'm gonna slap some 4.3s on her once these break and see how she does. All right. Well, not sure what happened there. It flew pretty well, I guess, but I mean, I only flew it for like 10 seconds before completely losing video. So what is that about? What do we have going on here? All right. Well, antenna looks good and everything. Oh, but VTX is off. Lost power to the VTX. Wonder what that's about. Oh, no? Yeah, I don't know. But definitely lost a prop on that one. Doesn't look like too much other damage though. Huh, time to see what's making her sketch. Well, the VTX is burnt out or something. I see some scorch marks on the bottom of it. I'm not sure what happened there, but it just went out, completely out mid-flight, and I just crashed to the ground and can't figure out what's wrong, so I guess I'm gonna take her home. But in the meantime, we'll switch over to the old Steel Chameleon TI and just do some normal ripping with her. Sorry about that, guys. I guess next video we'll do a more comprehensive thing on the new budget race flight hybrid combo. Anyway, so let's do some real flying.
I got an angel in one pocket, the other's full of nickels. One for every time I pulled a pistol on your innocence. You've been a victim since you bit your lips under my sheets, under my spell, and I was under your wing. Little bird found her bee and she suffered my sting. No wonder why I sing to any open ears, with enough room for 2 cents, drenched in regret. Best friends since we met, but these trends that I set, they came and double-crossed me in crisis. I took your king off his throne, but I adopted his vices. You said, well, I never.
god. Now this one's fail-safing? So what's next? Jesus. Well, everybody, it looks like with all that fun we were having with the lockouts and fail-safes, we managed to break the old top plate on the Chameleon TI. So that's a lot of fun. Broken top plate. Yeah. Also, yeah, can't figure out why the receiver keeps going out. So I guess we're gonna shelf this one for now. Receiver seems to want to be working again on the race flight one, so let's go back to testing this. So I think I figured out why the VTX was going out. I think the more I up-tilt the camera, the more pressure the back of the camera is going to put on the ground. And the screw that's holding in the back plate of the camera, it looks like it might be shorting against the ground, and that might be what's going on here. So, super dope. Of course, gonna fly with a little bit less tilt than I normally do, but I think we should get an actual test out of her this time.
Chillin' with the undead, the boom bap and zombie, purr. Hexagon sound. Yo, atrocious tactics to host the masses. Behold the madness, we roast the half-wits. As cold as cast a host of ratchets with open caskets. For these hopeless bastards posed as rappers. Explosive trash can make my pulse as fast as ocean rapids. Traverse the unknown, expose the atlas. My verses uphold subversive drum rolls to mold the pathway to both the catch it. So you worthless clones can show what wrath is. And all below the average actors to get blown to ashes. So watch me settle scores. As I relinquish the snobs with English, my linguistics could extinguish a stellar core. A top position cannot incision these metaphors. That's why my efforts for impressive bars is epic raw. The lion that not even noble could lift up. Got an orbit like Jehovah from scripture. Paranoia gon' rip your rats high before this flow will come get your raps tighter than the boa constrictor. Nigga, you know what the deal is. You want that awesome force to show the knock you spitters off your course. Off your course. Strong winds bring the tide in. Soak you with the blend we've been providing and flood the mental state where kids residing. Yo, I'm the poster child for the folks that wow. We invoke the crowd, so get a close-up now before I ghost the style. The string theory, smear sentences sincerely. To kids hear me, you give me millions of spins yearly. You been weary, I bring merely that bomb shit. You sing nearly in every song, clearly there's conflict. Really it's garbage, so that soft tippy, I solves it. It's nonsense, I'm flaws, whether y'all see me as conscious when I'm just a regular man. On the secular plan for grams, trying to stay ahead of the lambs. Yo, I'll be writing these incredible jams until my skeletal sands. And niggas read my shit with retinal scans. This one goes out to unforgettable fans who study my lyrics with grit until they sever all their cerebral strands. I spin the globe to any sensible land and rip a show. I've been to blow just like a chemical plant. You niggas know word. Yeah, you want that awesome force to show the knock you spitters off your course. Strong winds bring the tide in. Soak you with the blend we've been providing and flood the mental state where kids residing. Yeah, break it down. That's how we do, yo. You know the fuck yo, my nigga DJ the boss, word on the cut, telling shit. Yo, BBG, what's good, man?
Ooh, lordy. I think I kind of like Flight 1. Woo, it's hot in here. I can feel that spring coming on already. Well, guys, looks like today was, well, it was a bit of a wash. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm sorry that I wish something flew, because I'm really sorry I keep hitting you guys with like these long videos and the flying in it is like totally subpar. For the people just watching for the first time, I promise I'm a better pilot than this. I'm just working with all this new equipment and I'm trying to tune things, I'm trying to test things, I'm trying to get stuff going, and you know, I'm just having all kinds of problems. It just be that way sometimes, you know. But I hope that my next video will be maybe just like a regular flight edit where I do some cool moves instead of struggling against a badly tuned quadcopter for like 20 minutes. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Your continued support really means a lot. But I'll catch you guys next time. Hopefully with a really dope Flight 1 quadcopter and a repaired Chameleon TI. Take it easy. Have a great day. Peace.
Strong winds bring the tide and soak you with the blend we've been providing and flood the mental state the kids reside in.